colleagues' atrocities, he issued a written order to his men titled Guide to Soldiers in the South Seas that explicitly forbade looting, violating women, and the needless killing or injuring of local inhabitants. Now, Haury's first targets were two smaller islands east of New Guinea, New Britain and New Ireland. Gaining control of New Britain's town of Rabaul was key. Ideally situated as a prospective base of operations, Rabaul was nestled snugly inside the deep anchorage Simpson Harbor, protected on three sides by mostly mountainous terrain. The only entrance was through Blanche Bay, which opened into the St. George's Channel, separating New Britain and New Ireland. From Rabaul, Japanese warships could control the surrounding sea, including the Solomon Islands to the southeast. What was more, the town's two operating airports would enable Japanese aircraft to dominate the skies. A plan developed by Imperial General Headquarters in November 1941, known as the First Operational Stage, had identified Rabaul as the key element in the defensive perimeter around Truk. Japanese planners believed that Truk, Japan's most important base in the South Pacific, would not be safe from enemy attack as long as Rabaul was in Allied hands. In the crowded wardroom, the Army and Navy officers shared intelligence reports gleaned from photographic reconnaissance flights and on-the-ground spies. They discussed several possible landing sites, but finally selected the town's waterfront inside Simpson Harbor as offering the best access to the airfields. Intelligence reported that the port and town were lightly defended, with fewer than 2,000 troops, including volunteer militia. Nonetheless, Haury planned for an overwhelming invasion. A fleet of bombers would destroy any enemy aircraft before the 5,300 men of the South Seas Detachment launched a three-pronged attack. Two prongs would head toward the two airports outside Rabaul in an attempt to limit sabotage and secure landing sites for carrier-based aircraft. The center prong would go directly into the town itself. Orders from Tokyo were that all defenders were to be annihilated. The officers assumed that Rabaul's shore batteries could keep some of their ships out of the harbor. 51-year-old Rear Admiral Kiyohide Shima, whose warships were to escort the invasion's troop transports, expressed concern over reports that the Australians might have as many as 10 coastal guns defending Rabaul. To lessen the danger to ships that would be clearly visible in daylight, the Navy decided on a night assault. Several Army officers, including General Haury, were unhappy about landing on a mostly unknown shore in the dark, but the final decision was the Navy's. With a population of 5,000, composed of fewer than 1,000 of European ancestry, 1,000 Asians, mostly Chinese, and 3,000 members of local Melanesian tribes, Rabaul had once been a cosmopolitan town with several hotels, a movie house, department stores, a well-stocked public library, a variety of restaurants, several druggists, a baseball field, and a cricket field. Simpson Harbor had boasted modern wharves, warehouse facilities, and a seaplane base. Yet in May 1937, a series of volcanic eruptions had buried the entire city under several inches of wet ash, destroying many of its buildings. These eruptions had transformed a formerly flat island in Blanche Bay into a 700-foot-tall conical mountain within which volcanic rumblings continued. Rabaul was just starting to reestablish itself when the war started. The town's defenses were slim, numbering only 1,500 men and women, even less than the figure reported to Haury. Some were civilians, clerks, planters, miners, bankers, lawyers, and government employees who had enlisted for training with the recently formed New Guinea Volunteer Rifles. They had signed up expecting to serve in support of regular Australian Army forces, not as frontline troops. However, a few had experience from the Great War, and most took to their training with enthusiasm and energy. New Britain's main defense was Australia's 222nd Infantry Battalion, known as Lark Force, under the command of 52-year-old Colonel John Scanlon from Tasmania. Scanlon was a decorated veteran of the Great War and a holder of the French Legion of Honor. His Lark Force was a mixed bag of infantry and artillery units, along with a medical detachment that included female nurses and a 25-member band. The defenders' weapons were out of